Welcome to the Play Create podcast. I'm Kirsten Gunnerud.
And I'm Jill Johnson.
This is a place to explore play and creativity.
It is, and this is where we come together and we play and create forward, which means that we give momentum to our ideas and our thoughts that have been kind of keeping us up every night.
Yeah, in every aspect of life, work, parenting, you name it, there's no place we won't go and explore.
And when it gets down to it, we just want to have fun.
I say this every time, and every time it's true. I am so excited to have Bill Severns with me today. Bill is a dear friend. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's the director of the Keeper's Legacy, which is an organization that I absolutely adore. Bill was a baseball player, heart and soul, growing up, played for Oklahoma State University, went on to play for Milwaukee in the major leagues. And when that career transformed, went on to coach how many kids, Bill?
22 years worth, let's just say that.
22
years worth, let's just say
coaching.
that. I have no idea.
Yep. And you have how many kids and grandchildren?
Well, we have 4 kids, 4 spouses, 12 grandchildren.
Yeah.
So when we go out to dinner, it's a table for 22.
I love it.
So it's and I have to tell you, it's Oklahoma University, not Oklahoma State.
Oh,
those are our rivals.
Ah.
Yeah, that's okay. I couldn't let that go on very far.
No, you can't let that go on.
It's okay. It's okay with you, though. I could let it go.
All right. So Oklahoma University.
Mhm.
But needless to say, you are a man with a whole lot of experience about teamwork and coaching and life and kids and all of these beautiful things. And so I am so happy to be able to share you with people today and your wisdom. And so Bill has written one of my kids' favorite books called Doughnuts, Diamonds, and Dreams. And you've written a couple others, Keepers of the Sandlot and the Sandlot Strategy, which I give to every coach I know who's actually coaching. But let's talk a little bit about your story and what you started playing baseball as a kid. You loved it. And then there were some challenges.
Well, there were challenges. Not as much when I was young and playing in the sandlot like most of us used to do, just go play in the neighborhood, and there were like usually anywhere between 6 to 10 of us, and we would play baseball or football or play in the creek, whatever we would do. But I always knew that I wanted to play baseball. But I had a lot of friends too, so sometimes I had to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't play baseball.
Yeah.
So I learned the life lesson early on. And the donuts in my book come from a stage where I had a paper route. I'd get up every morning at 4:00 every morning and throw a paper route, which they don't do too much anymore. Mm-hmm. But I had 120 papers. I would get up at 4 a.m. and ride down to the highway patrol station in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and fold my papers. And the highway patrol dispatcher would always say to me that if you'll run over to the store and get us some donuts, I'll buy. So that was a pretty good deal. You get up, free donuts. And so that went on for 5 years, actually. My problem with the donuts came that it ran into my dream because I had a great arm from throwing the papers. I broke 37 windows in 5 years, canceled my parents' homeowners insurance. I had great legs because I could ride the bicycle, but apparently during the course of time, I might have gotten a little chubby. Matter of fact, I did get a little chubby. And so by the time I went out for the high school team, since I didn't play football, I went out and I showed them my great arm and my great running ability. But I got cut the first day out. Oh. And so the donuts were obviously holding me back a little bit. I went home and I was devastated because I'd wanted to be Mickey Mantle, the next Mickey Mantle, playing the big leagues and everything else.
Wow.
the coach at the high school wanted to see me the next day. And he said, look, we think you have the ability to make the team next year. You didn't know there were going to be 100 guys out for baseball. And since you didn't play football, nobody knew you. So what I'd like you to do is please don't quit. Please don't give up. Get in a little bit better shape and come next year, and I think you can make this team.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to my mother in her last year, right before she died, I said, you know, Mom, that was the most important day of my life. And she said, yes, it was. She said, because if he wouldn't have talked to you, you would have gone away. She said, you were a really sensitive little boy.
Yeah.
So, you know, hearing that from your mom when she's 87 years old and knowing that that had been in her heart all her life. So I went the next day and I talked to him, and he said, first of all, I'm glad you came to talk to me. And because you're manning up here. You came to see me and you want to hear, you want to get better. You're going to listen to me. And second of all, you didn't bring your mom and dad to do your fighting for you. And I said, well, they have to work. They have jobs. And so he told me to give up, get in better shape. So the next day on my paper route, I went and told Charlie, the guy that was buying the doughnuts, I said, guess what, Charlie? I can make the team next year if I quit eating donuts.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get the donuts, but I can't eat as many. So I went from like 10 a day. There were those little ones that come in those packages, you know.
Yeah.
I would go from like 10. I went from like 10 to 8 a day to 6, you know, because you can't just go cold turkey. You know, you have to just, you know, kind of weed it out a little bit.
Yeah.
The next year I was in shape. I made the team, and you know, God gave me the desires of my heart. And the next year I made the all-state team in Oklahoma. So, you know, I had some great coaching, and the donuts, I had to get rid of them. And I got back out onto the diamond to continue my dream, which is kind of the theme of the book. Because every kid has a dream.
Yeah.
Not every kid's dream. None of our dreams are the same. But sometimes we have something that's holding us back. And in that case, it literally was some donuts. So anyway.
So what did those donuts teach you about that? Then I'm guessing it wasn't just the donuts at times, right? There's that everything wasn't just completely roses from that moment forward. There were probably other times where you had to be willing to, I don't know if give up something is quite the right word, but notice what it was going to take to accomplish what you were going for. How did those donuts inspire you?
Yeah. Well, when you held up the book there, I think you see it. Hold the book up again. Do you see the little boy? He sees the goal.
Yeah.
He sees the field. He sees where he wants to be. And he's got the donuts with him, so he's not exactly, you know, he's holding on to him a little bit, but he realizes that he needs to get rid of them. He has to give up what he likes to get to what he loves. Is what I like to say.
Yes.
I like the donuts, but if I wanted what I loved, that's what I'm saying. I had to give it. And you can see it in that picture, and that was drawn by an artist at the Kansas City Art Institute. That book is illustrated by kids at the Kansas City Art Institute. And we had a contest to see who could catch the overall, what I was trying to say.
Yep.
And I've seen a lot of people, and we all see them every day, where they can't give something up. They can't forgive somebody. You know, they can't let it go. You know, they can't, there's all those things, and all the way through, you know, my age today, you know, you have to quit being afraid sometimes, you know, don't be afraid, go for it, you know, because we only have today, you know. So that's kind of the point there. That's almost a life lesson. It is the life lesson. Give up what you like to get what you love, maybe.
I would say that is a life lesson. And sometimes we, as human creatures, sometimes we like, just because it's comfortable, we like things that we don't really like, right? We like, you know, we're so used to being in a certain situation, or we come to believe that this is how it is, and so we get stuck in the likes instead of moving towards the loves. And this is huge. This is important. And I love that you're not just teaching, kids this, you're teaching adults this. You're helping parents, coaches, kids, just people in general get these messages, which are so important. And the other thing I think is so important about your story is you had people who believed in you. You had a coach who, even though he cut you the first day, still showed up for you, and you showed up for him. And that then eventually took you all the way to the bigs.
Yes. Yeah. The thing that was amazing about him, and I think this is just so important for every single parent, life lesson or whatever. He coached a couple state champions in baseball. He played at KU basketball. Then one day he dropped his 3 daughters off at their gymnastics meet practice, and there was not a coach. Coach didn't show up. So he decided to be their coach, and he didn't know anything about it. But the most important thing in his life were his children, his family. And I think from a legacy position that you mentioned, when you get to my point in life where I am, all of a sudden you realize how important your family is, because your family's who's left. They're the ones that are there. You have great friends, you and me, all of the friends that we have, but your family is what you deal with. So he coached 30 state champion girl gymnasts in Oklahoma. So when I spoke at his funeral 2 years ago, there were 1,000 people there.
Wow.
There were 6 baseball players and 6 gymnasts that sat on that stage. So, when you say there were people that helped you get there, I mean, it's my life, anybody's life. It always takes a team, and it takes people, because there's some days you just don't have it. You and I have talked about this before, but my son Will, when we formed our 501c3, he said, "This is great, Dad, because now you've got a team. All you have to do is pitch."
Yeah.
And what he was saying is, now you've got people to play other positions for you.
Yep.
Because you can't play all the positions by yourself, unless you're a golfer. But even then you have to have somebody carry your bag, and the caddies.
And people who've taught you. I mean, I don't know
the caddies are
a world-class golfer, or really many golfers who don't have someone coaching them, them improve their game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, it went on all the way up the line for me. I went to college, and all of a sudden I had new coaches, because even though I had been an all-state baseball player, my coaches asked me if I wanted to be good at what I was doing.
Yeah.
Howard thought I was. They didn't think so. And so they said, "We got to break you down to square one, and you need to start over." So I said, "Sure." George Brett, all the guys that I know, that some of the guys that live in our community here, and them, you see them in ski schools in Park City. You see the guys that, will take a skier and break them down and teach them how to be great.
Yeah.
Not just, I know that the blue slopes are the ones that go around the hill, maybe. No, the green ones, maybe. Yeah, blue. Those are the ones that I like when I'm skiing. You wouldn't like those. You want the black ones,
Yes.
And if I want to learn how to ski the black, I got to make a decision, So the coaches that come along and take us to the next level have always meant a lot to me. So those are maybe the coaches you're talking about.
Well, that, and the fact that you were willing to put your ego aside.
Oh yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm good.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah.
Part of why I stopped playing softball was I am, hate to admit this, but I'm open to being an open book. I was so in 8th grade. Everyone thought I should be on the varsity team. And I worked my butt off to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
And coach kept me not on that, or actually it was freshman year, not on the team. And I was so mad at her because I had worked so hard
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I deserved it, that I could not hear or see what she was trying to tell me, which was, if you play this team, you are going to get so much more time and experience than you're going to get playing varsity this year.
Yes, right.
And you come into varsity next year, you're going to like absolutely rock it. My ego, I quit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the difference between the yous and the me's at that age, right?
No.
So,
Well, yeah.
but it is.
No, I mean, I don't think it's a difference. I think it's just we get excited and we know that we want something, and which would be another tool that you and I talk about all the time. And I know we talked about it, was patience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we do want it. We want it now. We want it quicker. And sometimes just takes a little while, but that you learn that as you go.
Well, no, it's been a life lesson for me my whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
The not
Yep.
having done that and the not having heard that. And now I appreciate and take the time
Mm-hmm.
to listen to that wisdom in a way I didn't then, because I look at what I could have created with that and I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, there are so many ways and tools we could go with what we're talking about. But if we wanted to give people something to try this week, something to see if it works for them, what do you think would be a good thing for people to try?
Well, for me, I think I feel the best about my days when I set my priorities and then I focus on getting the important stuff done.
Yeah.
I think it's really difficult in this day and age with all of the media, with all of the Facebook, with all of it's easy to get distracted. And so, and then of course here, I'm in my 60s, I get up every day and I make sure that I accomplish what I know is important.
Yep.
That way I know that I'm focused on and I get done what I needed to do. I get really frustrated when I think I wasted a day because we just don't have that many. We don't have many days.
Yeah.
I don't know how I have 12 grandchildren all of a sudden. Time just really goes fast.
Yeah.
And our kids one day they're little bitty and the next thing they're 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah.
And I'm watching my children now. So I think every day in a week, what I would tell people to do, if this was what I was saying, get rid of the things that you don't need to have in your life. And I'm kind of like you here on this one. I've learned tough lessons because I was so scattered.
Yeah.
I wasn't focused. And that probably has held me back from doing more things, because I didn't stay focused. So now I try and do that. And I've gotten, I have better days now that I've gotten rid of the things that are cluttering up my life.
So you had talked before we started actually recording. I love the things that you said, and maybe there's a way for people to start one of our goals, as you know, is notice more. Maybe one of the things people can notice is, what don't you like? And what do you like? But also, what do you love?
Yes.
Really focus. You talked about getting rid of what you like to get to what you love. And so just starting to identify those things, and so that you can focus on the big things, the important things.
Right.
There's a great book. It's called The One Thing. And I wish I could tell you who the authors are right now, but their invitation is to ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do today such that everything else will become easier or better or whatever it might be? And I love that question because it inspires, like, maybe that day, the one thing you can do is go get back in bed and rest because you have been going 100 miles an hour and you haven't taken one. Or maybe
Right.
the one thing that day is to get totally focused and get your website done, or get it, or spend time with your family, or it can be a lot of different things. And you can even ask that question of the important categories in your life. But that has been a powerful tool to do what you're talking about for me, is to think about it in that context of what is that one thing that most needs my attention today so that I can create forward and make things happen.
Right. A couple years ago, I got stuck in a situation and I was literally stuck.
Yeah.
And I began to read and about things I was interested in. And we don't have time to get into those kind of things, but with my every moment that I had where I was stuck, I would read and study.
Yeah.
And my coach in college used to say, ultimately it all adds up. Everything builds and everything adds up to ultimately what you may do. So I try not to waste time now. If I have some free time, instead of watching the news or getting on the internet, I read and I take notes. I have my notebook here with me right now. It's right here. There it is. I'm constantly writing and learning and every day I'm trying to learn something.
Yeah.
And it always amazes me how all that reading pays off as I move forward in my day, how I pull from it. Yeah. So I don't feel like I wasted that time. Television, watching that television. I get so mad at myself now where after I watched 4 hours of, Chicago PD,
yeah.
Now we love to do that. I mean, that's fun. I'm not saying you don't do that. But then sometimes you just wasted 4 hours where you had something to do and you didn't do it. So I don't know, preparing for what's coming, you want to be prepared.
Yeah.
And again, Coach Stevenson used to say, you may say you want to be great at something, but are you really willing to prepare to be great? Yeah. Because a lot of people say they want to be great, but they don't want to prepare for it. And that means training. I could tell you a million stories about guys that would out prepare everybody, and that was when nobody's watching, but they were out working hard, and then they made the team.
Yes.
So preparing is a big tool.
It's a huge tool. So our invitation this week for all of you listening is to identify, even just over the next week, what is it that is most important to you? What is it that you love and want to create, that you want to focus your energy on, and start your day, go to bed clear on that. And when you wake up, really orient your day around creating that. And let's see what happens.
I think great things will happen. I mean, some days I don't get too far, but I make sure that I do it every day. And then you'll start digging, and the more you dig, the more you find, I think.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you, Bill, for joining us today. This is fabulous. We have so many other awesome topics and tools to talk about at some point in the future. So I hope you'll come back and spend some time.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to subscribe.
And definitely share it with all your friends.
Heck yeah, we can all use more play and creativity in our lives.
Yes, especially with our friends.
Yes. And check us out on social media. We're at Rocket Trike Studios. We'd love to have you join us there.